Hi friends, I am Parvez, and in this video we're going to learn that we can build a simple media player using Python and also PyQt. Now there will be three steps in this video. Now in the first step we're going to build our simple media player using PyQt 5, and also you will learn that we can use Qt multimedia in PyQt. In the second step we are going to use a Py installer to convert our pyqt.py file to executable file. And in the third step, we are going to learn that how you can build an installer for your PyQt application. Now, I've already created a simple Python file that is a PyPlayer, and also I have added an icon in here. Right now, there is no code in this Python file. Now we need to first we need to install PyQt, and I'm using PyQt 5. Now that's because, as you know, we have PyQt 6 also, but the problem is this, that in this version of PyQt 6 we don't have some modules. For example, we don't have Qt multimedia. By this reason we are going to use PyQt 5, but according to their documentation, in the newest version of PyQt 6, it will be, for example, 6.2. They will add the missing modules, like for example Qt multimedia, and there are some modules that are missing in this version of PyQt. Now there will be no problem because the code will work on these on 5 and also 6, but there will be some changes in this version of PyQt. So first you need to install PyQt 5. Make sure that PyQt 5, but for example if there is a version of 6.2, then there will be no problem, and we have Qt multimedia module. Now because right now we don't have the module in here, we want to use PyQt 5, and this is the latest version of PyQt 5, and you can just use pip install PyQt 5 and it will be installed. After that, as I've already said, that we will convert our pyqt.py file to executable file. Now for that you need to install another library that's called PyInstaller, and you can just use pip install PyInstaller and it will be installed. Now let's create our first window. We want to create our simple Gui window using PyQt, and I have already installed so from pyqt5.qt widgets. First we want to import Q application, and also we want to import Q widget, and also we are going to import sys in here. Now we want to create our window. So first we want to create our simple GUI window. Now this class window extends from QWidget, and there are different types of window classes that you can use. For example, we have QWidget, we have QMain window, we have QDialog, but for this purpose it's good to use QWidget in here. And now let's create our definite method in here, and we can just say super.init. And now the first thing is that we need to create the object of Q application, because in every PyQt application we need to create just one object of the Q application class. So in here I can just say app, and I can say Q application, and then here you can leave it blank like this if you don't want to use command line utility, but if you want to use, you can just give sys.argv. And after doing this, we need to create the object of our this window class, and we can just say window. And now there's a method in QWidget that we can access through this window object that's called show, and it's used for showing off our window. And in here we can just say window.show, and after that we need to execute our this app. So we can just say sys.exit and app.execute. Now if you are in PyQt 6, then you need to use it like this, app.execute. But if you're in PyQt 5, then you can just make it like this, and this will not work in PyQt 6. For that you need to just remove this and make it for example like this. Now in PyQt 5 we can just use like this. And now if I run this, let me just run my this PyPlayer. So now you can see that I have a simple window, and there's no icon, there's no title, but I will add that. Now because we are extending from QWidget, now we can access to some for example some methods that we can set the icon, set the window title, and also set the geometry of the window. We can just say self.set window icon. So first okay, let me just say set window icon, and in here it expects a Q icon. For that we need to import from pyqt5.qt GUI, not Qt widgets. So we are going to import Q icon, and in here we can just say Q icon, and you need to give the name of the icon that you have. So I've already added an icon in here. It's player.ico, and I can just add that in here. So player.ico, and now if we run this, you'll see that I have a player icon in here. Also you can set the window title, so I can just say self.set window title, and I can just say PyPlayer like this, and we can set the width and height of the window, self.set geometry. So in the geometry you need to give the X and Y position, so for example 350 and 100, and also the width and height of the window, so 700 by 500. Now if I run this, you can see that we have our window in here, and this is the title, and also we have the width and height, and also X and Y position. Also you can give a color to your window. We want to just use a color for our simple media player, and for that we can just say P and the P, and we can just say self.palette, and in here, and after that we can set the color. So set color, and we can just use it Q. We need to import this Q palette from, I think it's related to Qt widgets. No, it is belong to Qt GUI module. Yeah, and we can just use it like this in here, dot window, and also we need to give the color, so we can just say qt.red. Now if you are in pyqt6, you cannot use it like this. So first I need to import the Qt module, so we can just say in here, so from pyqt5.qt core, we want to import Qt class from the Qt core module. Now I have said that if you're in pyqt5, there's no problem and this code will work. So first let me just say self.set palette, and we want to just set it to P. And now if I run this, okay, now you can see that we have a red color window in here. Now if you are in pyqt5, this will work. Now if you're in pyqt6, then you need to change this. For example, for the color we can just use global color dot red like this. Now in pyqt5 it will work, but there is no problem. But if you use it in pyqt6 like this, it will not work. Now let's add some more functionality to our window. First of all, we need to import Q multimedia module from pyqt5. As I have already said that we are going to use Qt multimedia module and also Qt multimedia widgets. So for this we need to import that, and I can just say from pyqt5.qt multimedia, we are going to import Q media player, and also we are going to import Q media content like this. And also we need to, from pyqt5.qt multimedia widget, we are going to import Q video widget. So now in here I'm going to just create a new method, so div create player, and in here we can create our media player functionality. Now this will be a simple media player, not complex media player, and I want to show you that how you can use Qt multimedia module in pyqt. Now the first thing is that we need to create the object of media player, so we can just say self.media player, and I can just say Q media player, and we need to give some parameters in here. So the first one is none, and also we need to give Q media player type, so that should be a video surface, so we can just say Q media player dot video surface. After that, we need to create a video widget. For now, using video widget, we will now the video will be played on the video widget. So for this, we can just say video widget and queue video widget like this. We want to create a button, for example, one button for playing of the video, and the second button for example, for opening the video. So for this, let's create, first I want to create open btn, and I can just, so first I need to import QPushButton, and that's related to Qt widgets. So we can just say QPushButton, and then here QPushButton, and I don't want to give any title for this or any text because I want to add an icon for that. Now by default I want it should be disabled, so I can just say we can just make it self.openbtn, and I can say self.openbtn dot set enabled, and I want by default it should be disabled, so I can just use it false. It's a boolean value. If you want it should be, now by default QPushButton is enabled. If you want to make it disabled, you can just use it false. And again, if you want to make it enable, you can just make it true. Now we can set icon for the display button. So I can just say self.play, not media player, so open btn, or oh, now this we don't want to add any enabled or disabled for this. Because it's open, and by this we can open our directory. So in here I can just say open video, and it's just a simple push button. Now let's create an edge box layout. We will need two layouts in here, and a Q edge box layout and also a Q vbox layout. So now in here, first I need to create an edge box layout, so I can just say edge box, for example, and Q edge box layout. Also I can just say edge box dot set content margin, so we can set margins to 0. Now we need to add this open btn and the edge box layout, so we can just say edge box dot add widget, and we want to add our self.open btn. And after adding this, now we want to create another layout. It's a vbox layout because we want to add our edge box layout to the vbox layout. So now I can just say vbox q vbox layout. Now edge box layout is horizontal box layout, and you can align your widgets horizontally, and using a vbox layout you can align your widgets vertically. So now not video widget, but it should be QVbox. So QVbox layout. And now we can add our edgebox layout to the vbox layout. And we can just say vbox.add layout, and we want to add our edgebox layout. Also an important issue, when you're going to create your layout, you need to set your main window layout, and we want it should be our vertical box layout. So we can just say self.set layout, and we can set our vbox layout. Now let's run this. We will not see anything in here because we need to call our this create media player method in here. So I can just self.create media player, and now I can run this. So now you can see that I have an open video button in here. Now let's create the rest of the widgets for our this media player. So we have our open button, but we also in here we also need to create another button for playing. So self.play btn, and it's a Q push button. And for this we want to make it self.play btn. We want to make it by default we want to make it disabled. So we have set enabled, and we want to just make it to false. It means that by default it is disabled button. And now we can just say self.play button. Also we want to set an icon for that, dot set icon like this. So you can use icon in here, for example icon from your directory, but I want to use the PyQt icons, standard icons. For that we can just say self dot style dot standard icon, and in here we can just say Q style. We need to import this Q style from Qt GUI, and in here, so Q style, I think it's related to Qt widgets, so Q style. So in here we can say Q style dot sp, and so you can see that there are different icons. We want to use media play icon in here, and now we can add this icon to the layout, to the hbox layout. So hbox dot add widget, and it's self dot play btn, and now let's just run this. So we have another button, so you can see that we have icon, the play icon for that. And let's create our slider. We want to create also a slider. For that we need to import the slider in here. So let me just bring this in the second line, and in here I can just say Q slider. So we have the play button, and I can just say self.slider Q slider, and you can add the type of the slider. There are vertical and also horizontal slider. We want it should be horizontal because by default it is vertical, and I can just use it qt.horizontal. And self.slider.set range 0 0. By default the range I want to set it to 0. And also I need a label so right now if I run this, so I'm not seeing the slider because I need to add that to the layout. I'm here dot add widget, and we can just say self.slider, and now if I run this, now you can see that I have a nice slider in here. Now let's create a label in here. We can just say label, or we don't need label, I think, because we are not going to add any error functionality. So for this reason we are not going to add label in here, but we need to add our video widget in our VBox layout. We have already created a video widget in here, QVideo widget object. Now we need to just add this in our vertical box layout. So in here, in this section, we can just say vbox.add widget, and we want to add our QVideo widget in here. Now if I run this, so you can see that we have our video widget in here because now it's in here in this section. Now let's work on this open video. Now we want to work on this. So for this we are going to create a new method in here. I think, yeah, in this section. So in this section, and I can just say div open file, and using this method we want to open the file. So first we are going to just create a file name in here. Like this, and I can just say QFileDialog. So for this we are going to use QFileDialog, and we need to import QFileDialog from this Qt widgets. Now we can just say QFileDialog dot get open file name like this. So the first one is self, and the second one is we can just say open video. And after that we are going to check that if file name is not null, we want to, if that's the case, what we want to do is to set the media to our media player. So we can just say self.mediaPlayer.set media, and in here we can just use QMedia content, and we use QURL. So for this we need to import that, and it's related to pyqt5.qt core, so we can just say QURL, and let me just come down in here. So QURL, and we can say dot from local file, and in here we can just add our file name. And also we need to enable the play button. So for right now, if you see, that's disabled, so we can just say self.play button dot set enabled, and we want to just make it a true. Now we have created our this method. We need to connect this with the click the signal of the button, Q push button, and in here I can just say self.openbtn.clicked dot connect, and I want to just use not select, but it's self dot open file. So now I can just run this, and if I click, so right now you can see that this is disabled, and if I click on open, for example, a file, and if I choose, for example, a video, you can see now it's enabled, and we can just click on this. Let's add media player functionality, for example, playing the video, changing the media state. So for this, let's create a new method in here, and I'm going to just call it play video. And first we need to check the state of the media player, so we can just say self.mediaplayer.state. So if the state is playing state, q media player dot playing state, and here we want to just say self.mediaplayer.pause. And in the else case, now if that is in the pause state, we want to just play that media player, so self.mediaplayer.play. Now we can just connect this with our play button that we have, so we have it in here, and we can just say self.playbtn.clicked.connect with self.play video. Now also we need to create some methods, for example, for media state changed. Now before this, you need to download and install a codec, because if I run this code it will not work. By this reason, we need to download and install a codec. Now there is a K-Lite codec pack that you can download and install it, and you can just get it from codecguide.com, and they have different versions. You can just download the standard version, and you can just click on this. Now make sure that you have installed it, and I've already installed it. So now let's create our media state change in here, and it's because of changing of the icon, and I can just say diff media state changed, or so you can just say self. Okay, now in the media state changed, also we need to add self with the state. So first we need to check that if self.mediaplayer.state, now if the state is qmediaplayer.playing state, we want to change the icon, and we can just say self.playbtn. We want to change the playbtn. We can just say set icon, and I can use self.style dot standard icon, and we can use qstyle dot sp. We want to just pause that media pause. So if that's in the playing state and we want to pause that, we can just use it like this. And in the else case, so we can just say else so let me just, so now in the else case we can just copy this. Let me just copy this and paste it in here. So now in the else case we want to change that to media play, so we can just say self.playbutton.set icon, self.style.standard icon, and we can use another type of icon that is self.sp media play. Also, we need to add some method for the position changed and also duration changed. So we can just say position changed, and we need to pass position in here. We have a slider we have already created, so we can just say self.slider.set value. If we change the position, we want to set the value to the position. And also we have another method that is duration changed, and we can just add duration self.slider.set range 0, and we can add the duration. Now we need to connect these methods with the signals of media player. Now there are different signals in media player that you can use. For example, we have state changed, position changed, and also duration changed. Now in here, in this section, we can add our signals in here. Now before that, we need to just set the video widget to the video output. So in here I can just say self.mediaPlayer.set video output, and we want to, it should be video widget. And right now, if I run this, let me just check this that it's working or not. If I choose a video from here, for example this video, and if I play this, you can see that the video is playing and there is no problem, but you can see that we cannot this. We cannot change the slider. Now for that, we need to connect the method that we have created with the specific signals, and let me just do that in here. So self.mediaPlayer dot state changed dot connect, and we can just say self.media state changed we have already created, and also we have self.mediaPlayer dot position changed dot connect, self.position changed, and we have self.mediaPlayer dot duration changed dot connect, and we can use self dot duration, not select, but it is self dot duration changed. Now let's just run this. I'm going to just open a video, and if I play this, you can see it's working, but we can change this. We can pause this, and like this, but this is not working because we need to create another method. It's not working, and this is not working because we need to create another method for the slider. So for this, let's just create another method, and that should be for the set position. So let me just say diff set position, and we can just also add a position in here. Position self.mediaPlayer.set position to the position, and now we have created this method, but we need to just connect this with a slider, and there's a signal for the slider that's called slider moved. And where's the slider? Let me just find it. Yeah, this is the slider. First we need to just say self.slider.set range to 0, 0, or we have already set it. We don't need to add this again. Now we can just say self.slider.slider moved. Now this is a signal in the slider dot connect, and we can just use self.set position. Okay, now let's just run this again. So we have our media player in here. We can just open a video from here, and I want to just choose this video, and I can just play this. So we have our now I can just change this slider, and you can see that it's changing, and I can just make it like this. We have our simple media player in PyQt, but that is in .py file, so we can just run this, and you can see that we have our simple media player. Now in here, what we want to convert our this .py file. We have pyplayer.py to executable file. Now for that, we need to install another library that's called PyInstaller. So you can just use pip install PyInstaller, and it will be installed. And you can see that this is the documentation, and also there are different options that you can install. But the easiest way is that you can just use pip install PyInstaller, and it will be installed. Now we can open our terminal in the PyCharm IDE, and in here, if you see, we have our pyplayer.py file, and also we have our icon in here. Now we can just say PyInstaller, and we can just say --1 file, and we want it should be in the window mode, and we need to give an icon. The icon is player.ico. Make sure that it should be ICO. Now for example .png and .jpg will not work in here. And after that, you need to give the name of the Python file. So that is pyplayer.py, and after that, just hit enter. So now we are waiting for this, and it will take a little bit because we are using PyQt, and first it will import the modules, and we should wait for this to convert that to executable file. And you can see that it's importing the modules that are required. You can see that we are receiving this message in here. It means that it is converted. And now let's wait for this. Now we can see that we have two new folders in here, so build and also test, and we should wait for this. Right now it's not completed. You can see that it's created pyplayer.exe in here, and this is the executable file that we will work on this. And now it's completed, and we are not receiving any warning for this. And now if you see, we have built and also test. Now in the test we have pyplayer.exe, and we can just open this, and let me just open in the Explorer, and you can see that we have an executable file in here, and I can just open this, and now this is our PyPlayer, and we can just open this a video in here, and let me just play this, and now it's playing. Python didn't use needed for a widget, key widget. Now we need to create so like this, you can use PyInstaller, and you can convert your pyqt.py file to the executable file. We have our executable file in here. Now let's create an installer for this executable file. So the first thing is that you need to download and install enusetup. So you can just go to the grsoftware.org, and you can just download enusetup from here. And after downloading, you can just install it. The installation process is so simple, you can just install that. Now after installation, we need to just copy this build dist folder, and I have already created an empty folder in here, and I want to add copy these two folders in here, and I can just select. Also, I'm going to just copy this icon because I need that. We can just copy and paste it in here. So after copying the folders in here, so we have our this build and also dist folder, and this is our pyplayer.exe. Now we need to open our setup compiler. So this is our setup compiler, and I can just click on the new. After that, click on the next. Now in here you need to give the application name. So for example, I'm going to just give it PyMedia player, and after that you can just give the version, so version 1, and you can give the publisher, for example application publisher. Let me just give it my name, and you can just also give a website for this, so for example geekscoders.com. and after that we are going to just click on next, and you don't need to bring any changes in here, and you can just click on next. And here you need to give add your executable file, so we can just browse this, and in the desktop we want to just find the media player folder, and in the dist we have our PyPlayer, and in here you need to add your folders, additional folders that you have in the media player. So I can just choose this media player like this, yes, and after that click on next. And here we can just click on next. We don't need to bring any change in here. Click on next. You can add your license in here if you want. Click on next. Next. Choose the language. I want to choose English. And now in here you need to give the output folder for your installer. So I can just browse, and I want to just add that installer in my this media player folder. And you can give the name of the output. I can just give it, for example, setup. So this is a setup. Add an icon. We can just go to the media player, and this is player. You can set a password, but I don't want to set any password for this. After that, click on next, next, finish, yes, yes. And we want to just give a name for this. I'm going to just give it, for example, my script. Using this you can bring some changes to your installer, and you can save this. Now we should wait, and it will take a little bit. And so now you can see that in here it's creating the setup file in here, and I'm waiting for this. Okay, now we have our executable file, and you can see that we have our setup in here. Now we can install this. I can just say, for example, run as administrator, and I can just say yes. And now you can see we have our media player setup. I can click on next. You can create a desktop shortcut if you want. Click on next, next, and now it's installing. You can see PyMedia Player version 1, and this is the setup for the PyMedia Player. Now we can launch this, and I'm going to just click on this, and I can finish this. So now if I search in here, and that was PyMedia Player, now you can see we have PyMedia Player, and I can click on this. Now this is our media player, and we can just open this. Open, for example, a video in here, this one, and we can just play this, and it's working. And also you can see for the Pi site we can see code Q. So thank you guys. If you have any question, please let me know, and for the further videos please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and also share the video. Also, if you want to support me, you can just support me on my Patreon page. I have added the link in the video description.